So we're here with the Haxman installing a driveway entry gate at his property, which these are all the rage. If you don't have one, you'll probably want one. An automatic driveway gate that is both safe and functional. Awesome, simple diggers. You can see which ones are my go-to. They're just tough. They're weighty. I like them.
From a professional standpoint, those are not my favorite.
It's probably because of your little girl arms.
No, I like the cobalt ones because
they're lighter and bend easier.
No, they're just my more favorite, man.
And because they're lighter. This right here, that is the problem. That. I like how you're watching me work. This is amazing. We're gonna get so much done. Yeah, there's an X right over there. You could get those handy dandy cobalt diggers and go to town anytime you're ready, buddy. It's gonna take a lot more time than people think to do it right. When we start ripping and tearing, they're like, wow, we didn't realize there was that much to it, but there's a lot to it if you want to do it correctly. What they're used to is seeing things done incorrectly, and that's when there's not a lot to it. Not deep enough yet. I've taught people that do fence how to do this stuff, and the first comment they say is, wow, I didn't realize that it took this long to do this and that there was so much to it. What you see is not even close to everything there is to it.
And it's the stuff that you don't see that's the pain.
It's the pain, it's what takes the time, and it's what's gonna make the gate both safe and work better. In all seriousness though, we're using this end of the bar, the pointy end, not that end. There is a difference, and for this particular task, this is what we do. Are we plumb?
Go that way.
Eighth of an inch. That's it, right there. Okay. Okay, up. It was probably the dry pack concrete settling. This is just hinge adjustment. The hinges that we use are legitimately called badass hinges. We use nothing but badass hinges because they work so well. They've got a little bearing inside there. Probably one of the first steps when you're designing a system is make sure you eliminate all the friction. So what we do is we use good quality hinges, not just some farm gate hinge, because it eliminates wear and tear on the, and you can see how easily these things swing.
Like butter.
And these are probably 175 pounds a leaf. So all we're gonna do is just take out the adjustment here at the post. We've got a little bit of adjustment there, and we just need to fine tune it. We're gonna go up with this in a little bit, and this in here. We're gonna go down just a little bit. Keep going. Yeah, you're good right there. Yeah, I'm good with that. So how we know we want this here is determined by how far away from the gate we are. We have to be a minimum of 6 feet away from any moving part of the gate. The other thing to think about is how can I pull up to the gate without being in the way of the gate swing path. From the center line of the gate, if the gate's opening away from us, we like to put it about 12 to 15 feet out minimum. And then somewhere off to the side so that when we swing in here with trucks and stuff, there's no potential to wipe this out. And I like these at 48 inches because that is good for the trucks and the cars. So I usually go 48 inches to the center. Now, if we were doing a wired keypad, we'd want to put conduit in here and we'd run that right up the center. But since your keypad is wireless,
I've got a wireless keypad.
It's Bluetooth.
How long will the battery last?
When you can't get in your gate anymore, change it.
Okay, I got you.
I just change them out once a year. Yeah. When you change your smoke detector battery, change your gate batteries.
You're supposed to change your smoke detector batteries?
No. What do you think? Is it lunchtime? Like, you want me to see if I can ride it? I wonder. This is scary. Is this gonna ruin this gate? Oh, look, I settled something. That's easily a 1/16 of an inch. Let's see if this one goes. Watch out, you're in my fun zone. Solved. It didn't even affect it when we rode both of them. I better check. We durability test everything here. We want to know where the weak points are. Oh yeah, we're good. That's perfect. Perfect, perfect. So this solar panel is actually a 45 watt solar panel. What comes with it is a 10 watt. It'll just help charge the battery and keep it charged up faster when there's good sunlight. And when there's bad sunlight, it gives us more chance of maintaining the battery. So if 10 watts is good, 45 watts is even better. That's just how we do things. Oh, yeah, power. It's working. Oh, these are all so hot. If you will notice, they give us all this cord. I like to mount it right here and then just wad the cord up in the box. It helps the reception if it goes around in a bunch of loops. Basically what it does is it speeds up the signal. Every loop it makes, it gets faster and faster and faster. And every time the signal gets faster, then your gate will receive the signal better. So that's why you loop it in the cabinet. It's better if you can just zip tie all this together in one big wadded up mess.
Are you messing with me or are you being pro right now?
I don't know, you're gonna have to figure that one out. I don't give away all my secrets. Anything and everything gets so hot in here. You're going to take one thing away from all of this. It's that if it's done right, it doesn't install in a couple hours. This is a very in-depth process and there's a lot to it. And to do it right and do it clean and do it safe takes time, knowledge. You got to actually give a crap about what you're doing. Like, really. So one of the things I'm trying to decide now is where I want the center line of my operator to be. And I think I'm going to install it down here on this bottom rail. The reason being is I don't know exactly where my other piece is going to come to, and I don't want it falling half on and half off of this. I need inch here, and like inch here. Boy, it's really hot right here.
Oh, yeah.
This is the perfect spot. You have chosen the perfect spot to do this.
That's right.
I'm glad that this outlet was right here. What is this? Would you like to talk to the camera and tell them what you're doing?
This is a Cat 5 cable stripper.
No, it's not a Cat 5. It's a coax cable stripper, and we're about ready to put on a coax end. Because contrary to popular belief, leaving all this in the cabinet, around the cabinet, and beneath the cabinet, or wherever you want to stuff this mess actually doesn't make it receive any better. So we are going to do something so simple, yet so few people do, because we like tidy work.
First step is you gotta take your little coax cable thing, you put it in there, and you just spin it around a few times. See that?
Okay, then you want me to do this? Or
I'll do it.
Okay, you're gonna do this. So easy, a 16-year-old can do it. For the record.
You put this thing on.
Go on, shove it. Look at it.
It's good.
Okay, you're probably just a touch far, but no, it doesn't trim off. That's what we just did, was trim it off.
Anyway, we're just gonna squish this thing.
And just like that, we eliminated all of that wire mesh from our cabinet, because now we have a bulkhead fitting here, goes into the cabinet, goes over here all the way over to the receiver, and we have our antenna that can sit up here. And that's important because your antenna really should sit up higher than any metal around it. And so now we have a nice, neat antenna installation, so hopefully we get the best reception possible. It's that simple, but nobody does it.
What was it, 7 in the morning? Never. Never in the morning?
Can we get a check before we leave?
Yeah, it's in the mail, bro. 1 3/4 inches of rain last night. I don't know if a screw bucket is the best way to measure it, but there you have it.
Off my tool bag out. Wonder how my multimeter's faring. I'll set this out here to dry off. Oh, it's still good. So the craziest thing is I have seen one of these arms used to lift a 20-foot vertical pivot gate. So these things are incredibly tough. Not that I would ever condone using it for that. And a vertical pivot gate is one that kind of knifes into the cabinet like this, and it was pushing that thing up. Incredibly, incredibly strong. These have a lot of power. They will move a big, heavy gate. These gates with the hinges that they have, like, you could use a different operator on there, but there are a lot of differences inside of these that you're not seeing, and the construction and how tight they are and how exact they are in closing. All that makes the difference. That's why these aren't 500 bucks. They're very stout. This is the best actuator arm style gate operator that you can get. I would even use these on some commercial applications. You know, they're so good. Just extremely reliable and so incredibly solar friendly. That's the big reason we chose it for your application. Actually, we're gonna turn this one upside down. Okay, when you tighten this, not too many ugga-duggas.
Now, are these? Do we leave these as shin splitters, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. You're gonna be that homeowner? We're not done with the job and you're critiquing everything?
I'm just saying, you walk up to this thing and it, bam!
Hey, come on, Ken.
I'll judge it at the end.
So we attached these to this rail. You need to have a good solid attachment point, whatever you're doing. Now, this is all 1/4 inch aluminum. This is 1/8 inch aluminum. The posts are 1/4 inch aluminum. So if you're using really light duty stuff, you need to make dang good and sure that you probably add some additional bracing. We've got enough strength in the aluminum here that we can use this as an attachment point, but if we hadn't, we'd have had to plan ahead and maybe run some vertical bracing or do something else. So just be thinking about that, especially with your light farm gates. Think about the bracing that you need to make that attachment point secure. Same thing at your post. You don't think that there's a lot of torque, but when that wind and things like that are blowing on this gate, it's actually creating a lot of torque at that post. Keep all that stuff in mind. We're getting ready to add the one thing that almost every residential gate operator is missing. They're missing at least this. Probably missing the photo eyes too in a lot of cases. All this stuff that we're getting ready to do is what every gate operator is missing. So you're probably missing loops. There's a good chance you're missing eyes and you're missing this. So that's 3 things that I bet every residential gate operator is missing when it's done by somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. This is important for lightning protection. Oh, you're so much bigger. That was terrible. Let's talk about what this is. This is a vehicle detection loop. Every time I do one of these, everybody thinks that it's pressure, and so it senses the vehicle through pressure. There's no plate. What this works off of is magnetic field. It's basically just a big metal detector. It has to do with the turns of the coils of wire in the ground. It creates a frequency. All it's doing is when metal is introduced into this field, it changes the frequency, and those detectors detect that change in frequency and then send a command to the gate operator to do something. This keeps the gate from closing on vehicles. That is its sole purpose. It is not a person detector, but it works very well to make sure your gate does not get damaged by a vehicle, and vice versa, your vehicle does not get damaged by a gate. Super important. There are other things that we can use in place of loop detectors, where we can point microwaves, we can use pucks. Probes are very common. The bad thing about probes is they can't do everything a loop can do. But you need some sort of vehicle detection so that this gate knows that something is present way before we ever get to our photo eyes, because by then it's too late. The gate's already closing and the vehicle's probably already moving. So these are super critical, and we have 3. These are obstruction loops. These just basically detect the vehicle. Every time a vehicle is over it or near it, it's going to detect and not let the gate close. The one back here is a free exit loop, and that means that anybody that's inside the property can exit freely. As soon as somebody drives over that, it will send the command to open the gate. And that is the biggest thing that every gate operator is missing. Between that, the photo eyes, and the ground rod, most gate operators do not have those 3 critical things. Then we'll cover these up, and we'll just try and get as much good sand as we can and keep the rocks out of it, because the rocks can cut through the wires. So we are trying to bed these loops as best we can with good organic soil or stuff that's not going to cut it. Rocks are a big no-no. Do the best you can to bed it with good sand, and you should have loops that last for a very long time. I say that, but we have buried loops in places where there was nothing but rocks. Oh, party foul. Party foul. Is there any left? Uh-oh. We'll just say, hey, we'll use, oh yeah, there's not much left, is there? This is a total professional move. So what I'm doing is I'm using non-metallic liquid type flex, and we're using that non-metallic liquid type flex to go from here to the box, and we will not go straight from point to point and make it as tight as possible, because there is a potential that the trenches, that somebody's gonna run up on us while we're trying to talk and try and pack the trenches right here. So everything's in conduit, and that will go from here all the way up to our box. We won't run this tight from point to point, but rather we'll put a little bit of wave in it. And while that doesn't maybe look the best, it is the best, because if this settles or if anything bumps it, then we don't run the risk of that stuff getting pulled out, because it has a little bit of area for movement. For a long time, I used metallic flex, water type flex, but the more I come down to areas like this where we have all the water and rust and issues like that, then non-metallic is probably a much better option for the environment we're in. We're not going to run this wire overhead. We have dug this really nice trench and tied on this really nice chunk of flex. We will do it in a tidy manner, because that's how we roll. Okay. So it is worth noting that these have to be clear. If you call me up and you say, hey, my gate's not working, the first thing I'm gonna say is, are your photo eyes clear? Like, you know, weeds, trees, whatever. And then the second thing I'm gonna have you do is verify that by pushing a button on the board to show us what the problem is. Probably 9 times out of 10, it's these. So wipe them off. If you get a heavy rain, you can put Rain-X on these to keep them clear of rain. They do have hoods on them to help the sunlight from not interfering with them, but you know, just get down here and wipe them off. I would tell you if you had snow to, you know, brush the snow off of them, but I don't think we're in any danger of that. Ta-da!
We had discussed briefly flame throwing dragons.
Yeah, that was tossed around
with maybe pictures of my dogs on there. We went back on that.
I like this heavy duty ranch look though.
I love the way it looks. I love the way that it ties in, matches the four-board.
We made that match exactly what your four-board spacing was.
Yep.
Dragons next time. But if you want dragons, I'm dying to make a dragon gate. Dueling dragons.
Yeah. And it is done. My beautiful new custom fabricated aluminum entry gate by SWI Fence. Mark and his crew always do an amazing job. Mark, if somebody wanted something as amazing as this, what do they need to do?
All they've got to do is call us. We've got 2 locations, Florida and Wyoming, and we would be happy to help you fabricate a custom driveway entry gate for you no matter where you live. We can fabricate it to your specifications and ship it anywhere. And you'll know because it's got SWI's name on it, it's high quality.
That's right. Links in the description. Thanks for watching.
Can we go home now? I'm dirty, I need a shower.
Get out of here.
And I have no idea how many ticks are in that freaking luscious lock of hair.